Hello, this is Nathan Morin, making another video. I guess this time I kind of wanted to do something a little different, and so I will be going over kind of, I wouldn't call this my portfolio, but this is more of just like my, progression, I guess, as a photographer, or, well, in photography. I wouldn't call myself a photographer just yet. I would like to be one in the future, so I'm kind of working towards that. But yeah, so these photos are for. This was kind of an experiment with like a little bit of an experiment with kind of just somewhat of a studio environment. I wish I'd done more, but at the time this wasn't like a studio or anything. This was an empty college classroom, so I didn't want to take up too much time and get caught up in someone's class or like some other students coming. And so yeah, so this first one, obviously overexposed, nothing really going on. So then this next one, even more overexposed. This one I'm kind of getting closer to what I want in lighting. You can actually see the teapot, get some details, get some decent shadows. This one, the shadows are really nice, but the composition itself isn't, like, there's just a lot of stuff that isn't needed, like the stand and maybe the floor. But yeah, this one, I like this lighting a lot better because more of the focus is on the teapot. Like, you can't really see the background. Like, you can't really see in like the top left, you can't really see the raised platform, and the stand doesn't stick out as much. It's still there, obviously, but it's not as in the way, I guess. This one's just like a random shot. I don't know why. I think this one I was just experimenting with the composition, trying to get a different angle, see if, or just a different placement of it. Another photo. I think this one was just to kind of clear up details. This one is another one where I was experimenting with angles. That's really what I shifted from once I got like a lighting I was comfortable with, or like a capture. Being able to capture the lighting and shadows in a way that I wanted to. Like, once I got comfortable with that, I kind of focused more on finding a better composition. See, so I like this one better than like this one because like there's no stand, so the focus is like entirely on the teapot. So if I wanted to crop it, like if I crop these, it'd be a lot, I guess, it wouldn't work out as well if I crop this one versus this one, because this one, it's like all paper. You could get, yeah, it would just be easier to crop. This one, it's kind of meh, not particularly great. A lot of the weight is towards the bottom right section, right quarter, so it's not like there's nothing really to balance out the rest of the piece, so there's nothing too spectacular that way. This one is just, it's blurry, it's just bad composition. The angle isn't that bad, like the direction of the teapot, but because it's blurry and because it's like so towards the bottom, it just ruins everything. This one I like because it's a lot shallower. It's not as deep as this one, or as high as this one. So you get a better sense of like the overall shape of the teapot, and because it's closer, it's you get I don't know, it stands out more because the focus is like entirely on the teapot. Like, you don't notice the concrete beneath the paper, and like the shadows are really nice. The lighting is it's not glaring or anything like that. I like the warmth of it as well, because I don't I never really liked. I like warm lighting. I don't like just pure white or like really cold lighting. I feel like that kind of I don't know. It feels a lot more artificial. Like with lighting like this, it's kind of warmer. It's a little more natural. For this one, it's just blurry, but unlike, let's see, this one, it has a better angle, but because it's blurry, that kind of takes away from it. And then like, because it's like split down in half because of the weight of the shadows. So I mean, maybe if like this handle, if it was like directly on the handle, then we could like have a little more balance because there'd be a little more shadows on this side of the paper or this side of the photo. But yeah, it's very asymmetrical in the weight, and I don't know, it doesn't feel quite right. This one directly straight on from the spout to the handle. I feel like there's something here, but if I can't really go back in time and try and fix it. Another blurry photo, which I'm not happy with. A lot of blurry photos, which kind of sucks because I can't remember if I had a stand or not, but if they're this blurry, I'm pretty sure I didn't. This one is, I think it's probably the cleanest, but because of like all this cement and like because it's not as close to the teapot, I'd subtract points for that. But other than that, I think it's a good photo. I feel like this could be better if it was clear, obviously. Yeah, and if like maybe if I don't think the distance is that bad. Maybe if like this was just solid white, this whole back area and like this little corner, if it was just solid white, maybe I feel like that'd be good. Yeah, just a cleaner shot. This one's kind of like, what would you call this? I guess this would be like a right view, like yeah, like a right from the right side. I'm not sure, but good photo. Yeah, just a good photo. Maybe like, again, like if this was just more paper, I think that'd make it a lot better. This one, the light has been lowered, so this shadow is really longer. I'm not particularly happy with the lighting. I feel like it could be like maybe a little more, maybe if there's these highlights were a little wider, or like if the lighting from outside was like a little brighter, just so it could contrast with this warmth, all this warmth. I think that'd be good. And then like, yeah, I think that'd really bring it out. This one actually, this is actually really interesting because I like this kind of reddish tint you're getting around the teapot from the light. It makes it really moody, but it's not like, not in a bad way. Obviously it's like underexposed and like it's difficult to make out the flowers on the side, but it kind of, I don't know, it's a bit of a mystery, I guess would be one way of putting it. Teapot's too high because like this is too close for comfort. Could maybe a longer shutter time would help with the lighting. Composition's meh. I'd give it like a 2 out of 5 for composition. This one I brought in some stuff, but like, again, it's so weighted towards this up here. It's like, I don't know, it's not helping. They aren't helping. This one, I feel like the placement of this vase is, or whatever, I'm pretty sure that's a vase, is wrong. Maybe if it was like, maybe if all of these three were like maybe stationed a little more closer to this corner of the paper, maybe that'd be a little bit better. Or like maybe shifting the paper up a little bit more. But yeah, I think the placement is just like it's too much in the center. Like this teapot's in the center, but it's not really the focus. Like all three of these together is the focus. So because this teapot's in the center of the image, it kind of takes away. This one, I feel like this has a lot of potential, just because I like how it's kind of like you actually get to see the light, but again, I don't like how this teapot is in the middle of, like, just right up in this vase. So maybe if like this vase was actually turned like so that you could see this opening and the teapot was a little more down here, maybe that would help it. I'm not sure. Where am I? Just overexposed, not really interesting. This one, you can see all this stuff in the background, so I don't really like that. But you get the, I don't know, I guess this is another vase in the shape of a pumpkin or a jack-o'-lantern, but that really pops. So I guess like maybe if I was to take this photo again, make that the center of it, this jack-o'-lantern, if I was using the same like lighting and camera settings and whatnot. This one's it's all tilted, so I don't like that. Even more tilted. Overexposed. This was just kind of like an attempt to take a photo of people LARPing. Overexposed. I didn't really want to get like too close because like I felt like they were kind of doing their own thing, and I felt awkward asking if like to join them, or like not even join them, just take photos and stuff. But it's cool. Yeah, nothing spectacular about those. This is like some photos of art inside. I feel like because of like there's no natural light, or there's no lighting outside of like sunlight and stuff like that, so this is on a cloudy day if I remember right. So lighting doesn't really give you a good sense of the colors and whatnot in these paintings. So I wish the lighting was better, or just a little brighter, I guess. You can see that they aren't really vertical. Like I'm shooting this a little bit above like the middle of them. So like eye level is actually up here, which kind of, I don't know, makes it a little odd. This is a photo of a sculpture. I just thought like this is cool sculpture, so I'd take a picture of it. See if like it comes back to me later. I was just skating around my college campus. Because I think at this time I'd saw like maybe a YouTube video about action photography, and just like how this one guy during a Tour de France, he took a photo of like a long exposure of a cyclist carrying his bike, and I just really liked how like the shift in like the lines and the colors and the form, like as he was like keeping the camera focused on the cyclist, was really cool. So I was just kind of like riding around, trying to take photos. Nothing too great. Yeah, nothing really stands out. just all kind of meh. Just very amateurish. Nothing too good. Not really anything to focus on. This is just a photo of my room. This is like one of my first forays into night photography. So I just kind of went around my neighborhood, took some photos, experimented a little with moving the camera as I take a photo. Trying to like just figure out my settings. It was really cool. So my hands were also shaking a lot. But yeah, it's really blurry. I like this one because it's kind of like, I feel like this is like the intro to like some horror scene or like a really like intense moment in like a film or something. So I like that photo. One thing I like about photography is that, or night photography, is that you get these kind of interesting moments where like you can like really get, I don't know, I feel like it's so different from the day that you can kind of get a completely different feel, and I really like that about night photography. So like during the day, this would be like a just, I don't know, you wouldn't, I don't know if you'd notice this during the day, but at night, this kind of, I like this one the best. This Corvette kind of stands out. It sticks out because it's like, it's got such a unique form. And like the lighting is just, I thought everything was just kind of right for this photo. Nothing, I mean, it's not particularly great, but I just like it. I like this because it's fairly simple, not spectacular by any means. But I like the kind of, I like the story behind it, just a mom and her kid picking out a movie, something to enjoy together. Reminds me of like my own relationship with my mom. Just sometimes we'd go and pick out a movie and like rent it and then go watch it together. So that's always a good experience. So I like the story behind that. Yeah, just photo of a gas station, trying to figure out like some settings and just kind of like what works, what doesn't work. Yeah, nothing too spectacular about these. Let's see. I wish I'd gotten closer for that, for this photo, because I feel like these fluorescent lights and just maybe like getting a little closer would have really helped. This is one of the first times like I actually went inside a store and just kind of walked around, tried to take photos. Didn't spend too much time there, so nothing too great. I really like this photo because I like the kind of, it feels very, how should I say this? I wouldn't say, it feels very authentic, I guess. It doesn't feel like, I don't know, maybe like, it doesn't feel like there's, I don't know. This is tough. Why do I like this photo? Do I have a better one? Let's see, no. So this one might be a little bit better. Yeah, I think this one's better. I like this because this whole black space, it's like, is completely balanced out by these lights. And just this like light strips down here. Like you see all this black, it's like there's, you know there's something back there. but it's kind of balanced out by these lights and just this. I like how the focus, it leaves more like it lets your imagination kind of do the rest. So for me, like, I feel like, oh, there's so much going on back here, but I can't help but look at this because, like, everyone's interested in, like, psychic and, like, the supernatural, so there's always, like, some sort of interest in that kind of stuff. Whether you like it or not, like, there's always some aspect of it that kind of, like, sticks out, I guess, in people's minds. So I think that's kind of what makes this really interesting, is because, like, you have that kind of hint, I guess, like you're in like a supernatural kind of area right now. But yeah, so I think that's kind of cool. I feel like I like this version of these series of photos. Let's see if there's another one. Yeah. I like this because the lines are clean. You get a good sense of direction. The verticals are nice. They kind of balance out these. You get a good sense of like what's going on, and I just really like the lighting. That's one thing I really think is very important when you're taking photos, is like making sure like everything's like the lighting isn't like overexposed, but even then it's like you aren't getting, I don't know, like it just feels like, I just like how this kind of yellow pops out, like, and like, because everything else is great, but this yellow pops out, and I really love that. I love how it just kind of comes out at you, and it's like, because it almost feels like this is an open window. Like, it's not, because like these blinds are down, and I'm sure there's blinds here, but like it feels like this is an open window, and like you could just climb in there. So I guess that's kind of cool. But yeah, I like how it pops. I like the lights. I like the intensity of them and like how clean they are, but it's so dark that you can't really make anything out. So it's kind of a subtraction for me. I really like this one, but it's a little blurry, so that kind of takes away from it. I never realized until now that these people were here, but that's kind of cool. Yeah, I really like the kind of late night vibe, I guess would be one way of putting it. This is kind of similar to the fortune telling one. I like how like you have all this blackness and then like inside is light, but it's like, what kind of store is this? Is it a Handy Mart or something? I don't know, but it's just, I think it's just a cool photo. Nothing too spectacular about it. This one's kind of just like, it's just a bank, if I remember right. Yeah, it's a bank. You can tell. I really like the lines, the verticals. I think they kind of, the lighting and all that, I think it really balances out all this darkness and stuff. But it's a little too grainy, I'd say. So that kind of takes away from it. This one, I don't know. I like how this building, how the building kind of cuts into itself with the darkness. And this, like, the shape is really interesting, or like the kind of like the sharpness, I guess, of this building is really interesting. So I like that. I like how it's weighted. Even though it has all this dark space, like all these lights kind of balance it out, so it's kind of like you're moving along in the photo, kind of like, I don't know. It's like you're going like on a night drive, and like you just look up and then there's this corner of the building and then it's gone. I think that's kind of cool. Yeah, just photo of the semi. If this semi was like kind of a little more in between and I was a little closer, I think it'd be a lot better. The photo would be a lot better. Just photo of parking lot. Nothing sticks out really. All these blurry photos each. Let's see. Photo of an ambulance. I wish the lights were on for the ambulance. That would be a big plus. Oh, see these photos. Oh, see, like this one, I really like this one. The only problem is I'm not direct facing this head on. You can tell like by how this is like slanted a little. If I was facing this head on, I think this would be such like just perfect, I guess. Because I really love the balance of it. The symmetry is like just great. I never noticed this light, but yeah, it's just so close. These are some clouds. I was experimenting with like exposure, long exposure a little bit. Some lights, nothing crazy. This was on a rainy night, so this is a different night. This one I was intentionally focused, like trying to get like, I think at this time I'd been looking into like a little more into night photography and just kind of, whenever like I think night photography, I think like New York and like it's just rained and like there's all those scenes in movies where it's like the lights are reflecting off the like wet street, and just I always thought those scenes looked so cool. So I kind of wanted to emulate that a little bit, but with like my own twist. So that's kind of why these are blurred. And I thought that was really cool. And then like just add a little bit more exposure as I'm moving, just a little more, just to add like a little more oomph to it. And like here you can see like it's raining a little bit, and like I really like how this, I don't know, I really like the movement in this photo, because it's almost like the light itself is coming down onto the street. So that's kind of cool. This one, I'm kind of up in the air about it. I just love how these two, the red and the green, kind of contrast, and like this little hint, and how like it's almost like these are like islands in the middle of like a vast space. This one's obviously it's a little, exposure's a little better, so you can get a better detail, better feel of the street, but that doesn't really help it, I guess. This one is just like, I feel like this one's like, this is definitely like in a horror movie. Like I could just imagine like the villain or like the big bad evil guy coming out of the street, and like the heroes or like the main characters just see him and just like pause for a second. Like I feel like this story is like, it's like just before that moment where like shit's about to go down, and I really like that. That kind of like suspense is like, why do I feel like there's something gonna happen? Um, this is a photo of some trash I thought was really interesting. Or I wouldn't say interesting, but like just so, I don't know, like I've never really seen trash like that on the street like that. So I thought that was really interesting. I really liked the plastic and like how the water kind of collected on it. I wish it wasn't so gray, so maybe I could have done something about that. This one, I feel like there's a lot to be desired, but it kind of shows. Yeah, I just feel like there's a lot to be desired. Like, I don't have any problems with the composition itself, but I feel like I could have taken a better photo, although I'm not sure how exactly. Just a lot of retakes. This is almost like I'm drunk and just kind of like stumbling around in a parking lot. But I was trying to get like, I thought this, how the light was reflecting off the wet pavement was really interesting, so I was trying to like get something out of that, but I wasn't really getting anywhere, I don't think. This is my reflection in like some office space. I think this is that bank from earlier. This is really where I started to experiment with like moving my camera as I'm taking long exposures and kind of trying to create something different out of that. I really like this one because it's like, I don't know, it's so different from anything I've ever seen. And like, it just seems like, I don't know, it's like I'm in another world, or like I'm in a dream or something. It's so cool. Kind of similar. These are just kind of like really distorted. This one, it's like I'm trying to sketch this fire hydrant with light and like photography, which is a weird way to think about taking a photo. But I feel like that's what I'm kind of the vibe I'm getting. Like, it's almost like I'm trying to sketch this, and I'm like just going over it so many times that it's like you're kind of starting to lose sight of what's originally there. Just some clearer photos. This one, really interesting, because it's almost like there's two, like there's another level to the fire hydrant, even though it's just the same exposure. I don't know, it seems kind of cool. Maybe like this is just the same idea, except now there's three. So it's like I started here, dropped down, and then dropped down. So that's kind of cool. Interesting effect. This one, it's kind of like another sketch, but you get a little bit, you're getting a better sense of what this fire hydrant is. These are just me going crazy. This is really where I started to go crazy, because I really started to notice these lines and just like how the light moved. I really started to like that, how I could create these kind of like almost marks, I guess. So I thought that was really cool. This one I thought was just a good photo because I really like the quality and lighting. I'm not a Trump or Pence supporter, but I felt like the lighting that day was really good, and I really liked how the blue just popped out against everything else. So please don't take this as my support for him. I just thought it was a good photo. This is really where I started to go haywire with light. And just kind of going crazy. So I can't remember, I think I was in a parking lot or something, and I was just like, okay, I got all these lights around me, why not try like what I was doing with that fire hydrant doing a long exposure and then moving the camera to try and like create like something out of that. So then we're getting all these marks, and I really liked how you could get these repetitive signatures, I guess, but they'd each be different because the light would be different, and like the movement would be a little bit different, I guess, because of like how far they are. I just love like the symmetry in, not in like the photo itself, but in how they move. It's almost like they're dancing together, like the light is dancing with the other lights, I guess would be a way of putting it. I really like this one because of like just had the smoothness of the strokes. So, and like the photo itself is fairly well balanced. Or like it's not, the asymmetry of it isn't overwhelming or like so distracting that it kind of throws everything off. I think it's in large part because of this like extra line in there. But yeah, this one I tried to create a cross or like a person, so I thought that was kind of cool. Just trying to create stuff with it. And then I think this is around when I started to notice that as the camera, as you do these long exposures with like, and you start moving the camera, it creates these like sections as the sensor picks up the light. So like this is one, like maybe like a 1 second, this is another second, and this is another second. And then like the speed of how you're moving determines like this is 1 second, this is 1 second, and then like as I get faster and faster in my movement, they start to space out. So I thought that was really cool. See, like right here, it's almost like those, I don't know if it's Japanese or Chinese paintings where like they do the brushes and like instead of lifting the brush, they're kind of just like pressing heavy then lightly, and then they're shifting back and forth between that instead of just flat out lifting up the brush for each like set of scales or section of the dragon or whatever they're painting. It's like it's all one stroke, but they're lifting the brush up and down from light to heavy pressure, and it kind of creates this kind of staggered effect. So that's what that reminded me of. I don't know, one thing I'm curious about is like why this might have just been like the shape of just because of the shape of what the light source was, but like these smooth lines really contrast with these like sectioned almost like snake like hairs and like yeah reptilian kind of lines. Yeah, this one, like I was focused on this one, this main like snake, I guess, which you can kind of tell, but then like I don't know, I really like how like it feels like this one's kind of doing its own thing and these are all like background characters, but it's all the same photo. So these, or at least I'm pretty sure it is. I'm not sure actually. Huh. I wonder how I took that photo. I don't even know. I think what happened is I moved around. So like say like I think what happened here is I was moving my camera around but I wasn't like, I'd start with one light source and then move to a different one. So like they wouldn't, like one light source, I wouldn't be able to see them all on the same exposure at the same time. Like I'd start with one, then move to the next. Like I wouldn't be doing them all at the same time. So I think that's what happened. Interesting. That's kind of meh. Meh. I think I was kind of just trying stuff out, because I saw what I could do earlier, and I was like trying to figure out like where else I can go with it. So I think that's something else I could work on. This one, I like this because it's like all these lines. It's just like, I really like the difference in like the thickness and like the contrast and the color of the lighting, and just like this kind of gradient shift. I think it all kind of comes together. Obviously it's very cluttered, so maybe if like I could figure out a way to turn that down, that'd be cool. This one just looks like a bird or something yelling at me. Yeah, I think as I like, the longer like my exposure was for, the more you could start to see like maybe like the ground that was also being lit up. So I kind of took away from it. This one, I always felt like it was people praying, and like this is like the priest praying to this almighty being. That's what I think when I see that. This one, I feel like this one could have been like, if it was like a better quality picture, it could be like a dragon or something. Like this one would actually be like, I don't know, like it could turn into like some actual animal or snake or something like that. Yeah. And then I'm going back to, this was all on a camera or like a phone, so that's why these are all so grainy and stuff. So not particularly great photos. And then I switched my settings. Because if you like, you tapped on a certain section and it would change to focusing on that, and then the lighting would change. So that's kind of why you're getting these different exposures. This one I just liked because I thought the colors were interesting. I wish it was just a better quality picture. Same thing with this one. I think there is, no, that's it. Yeah, I just wish it wasn't so grainy. But I mean, I can't do much about that outside of like editing it in photo software. I like this one because it's kind of like the sky's opening up for the sun. And then there's like the mountain background. I don't know what's going on here. That might have just been something in the lens. But I like the composition's pretty nice. I don't know, I feel like these buildings cluttered it a little bit. But it's not a bad photo. This is something from work. I thought it was just an interesting photo. This is a cat. Obviously, her name was Midget. I don't know what happened to her, but I hope she's okay. I think she ran away. Just always sucks. This one, I just like, because I thought the clouds were nice that day. Nothing crazy. This is one photo where I wish I had a better camera at the time, but this was with my phone. Just because I loved like just how much, I guess, like energy and just like how raw the clouds felt that day. Like it just feels like there's so much power and like stored up in there. Another time where I just really liked how the clouds looked. Just some random. I think I was just messing around with the zoom on my camera. Kind of messing around with composition and just kind of figuring some stuff out. Some books I was reading. I really like the clouds. One thing I love about Colorado is like, or I guess sunsets in general, is just like the colors that really come out. Like, you don't see these colors any other time of the day, so that's always cool. Yeah, just some better photos. I wish the sky wasn't blurry, but a bit of a genre scene, I guess. Photo my room. Nothing crazy. I've always been interested in these bells at my work, so I thought I'd take an interesting photo. It's not bad, nothing great, but certainly not bad. Oh, look outside my window. If this wasn't so, I feel like the quality could be a little bit better, but it's got potential. Meh. Just random bag. Oh, I wish this. I feel like this definitely has potential, just because like the blue of the sky really kind of it just really pops next to this like kind of tannish concrete brick stuff. Yeah, and I really like just kind of like the perspective, the depth of it. I like this photo just because like I love the colors of the trees and the sky. It's just a really nice kind of, I don't know, like there's a lot in it, but it's not so much, it's not cluttered, I guess. It doesn't feel cluttered, even though there's like all these houses and stuff. Like it just feels, I don't know, I guess, I don't know, it feels very calm, I guess. Just me messing around at work for Valentine's Day, if I remember right. I thought these were interesting, so I took a photo of them. Nothing crazy. I really like this just because it's like, I don't know, it's such an interesting kind of scene, I guess. I feel like there could have been, like, I just like the color of like how intense these reds are compared to the background and stuff. And yeah, like, I like the texture, the difference in textures. I think that really helps it pop. This is kind of in a similar vein. I just like how, like, all these different materials contrast next to each other. And like how the plants kind of, I don't know, add a kind of elevated feel to it, in a way. This is during a sunset, if I remember right, and I just really liked like all the colors and just kind of like the composition itself. I wish this wasn't like on a hill. Like if this was just a little bit more straighter, I feel like that would have really helped the photo, but win some, lose some. But yeah, I really love the colors, and just I thought it was a good composition. Meh. This one, I really liked how much like the yellows contrasted with the blue, because I feel like the blue really makes it like all of this kind of pop out. And it's like, I don't know, I like kind of like the rustic feel of it, as weird as that sounds. This is similar to that photo with the other moth. I don't know, I feel like this could have been better. Like maybe I could have wiped off all this like dirt and stuff and grime. But I love how these clouds are moving. And I like how there's this kind of wall forming. I wish this tree like wasn't here, so maybe I could have gotten a little more into this field when I took this photo. I don't know, a little bit of a weird photo. I need to work on my handwriting. I really like the textures and like how these droplets formed and show like movement versus the grain of the wood and like the kind of, I don't know, it's almost like this is like the skin of something, because it's like almost like we're seeing into the tissue of it, like beneath that first layer of skin. Just a different angle. Not as interesting though. Meh. This one, even, I feel like this, I like the space in it. Like, you get it, and I like how it kind of, you get a sense of like just a small town vibe. Kinda. It's not really a small town, but you get that kind of sense from like how there isn't like, the buildings aren't like towering into the background. Like you can still see the mountains, and like the sky is like just so, it's almost like nature's like, I don't know, holding this town in a little bit. I don't know. Meh. I don't know, I just thought that's weird. I love the clouds in this photo. It's like, I don't know, it's like something else is coming. It's like there's something going on behind these clouds. It's like, I don't know, they're just so intense and full of like, I don't know, they're just so like massive and vast. It's really cool. Where is this? Oh, I don't want to talk about that photo. Definitely don't want to talk about that. This is an interesting one. This isn't a photo, obviously, but I was messing around in GIMP, kind of. So I really like how sometimes those videos of artists who work with oil and like different, like, I guess, waters and stuff like that, they'll make art with that by like dipping it in like some like liquid or something, and like different viscosities will mix, and like soap and stuff like that. So I always like that kind of like how they move with each other, if like, yeah. So I kind of tried to emulate that with painting. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. This is a photo of like a painting my cousin did of Texas, so I thought that was cool. This is where like I'd just gotten a new camera, so I was kind of messing around with the settings. It's not a DSLR, but it's not a point and shoot. It's a little more, it's like in between, I guess. So there's a little more functionality to it. So I was messing around with the settings, figuring stuff out, seeing what worked, didn't work. These are all just kind of meh. This one I like just because I feel like it's a good composition. I like how the mountains and like all that nature kind of come together. I like the kind of 3 tiers of blue, kind of reddish orange, and then like the green, just kind of all balance each other out. Photos of some ducks. Let's see. I like this one. I wish this duck wasn't in there. Let's see. I like this one just because, like, I wish this wasn't here. Obviously, this, like, plant in the bottom right. But I like the I like the flow of the water. I like the way the beak and these down feathers. I don't know what these are called, but they kind of pop out. But yeah. Let's see. Just kind of walking around my town now. This was the day I think like a senator or someone had died, so the flags were half down or at half mast. So I took a photo of that at a building, the library. I thought these yard decorations were interesting and how they kind of stood next to this fence. I'm me messing around with settings again, just kind of seeing what's up with my new camera, trying different things out. This photo, I like how many signs there are. I felt like that was really interesting just because, like, there's so much going on in this photo. And because of the signs. But yeah. Other than that, it's alright. A little grainy, and I don't know, the depth of field isn't that great. Let's see. I like this one's alright. Nothing too spectacular. Yeah, nothing crazy. I like how this kind of shines versus like the darkness of this air conditioning, like the kind of solid sky. I like that. Just trying to take a pictures of someone's hedge, get some interesting angles and whatnot. I like this one because of like how much the red pops against this kind of grayish blue, and then the white sky, which I don't know why it's white. I never noticed that, how white that is. But yeah. Or wait. This one I like just because I like the composition. Nothing crazy with subject matter or anything like that. It's not really telling a story. I just liked how these boards were arranged against this kind of like, against these, I don't know, the planks of the wall, and I just really like the lines in this. Yeah. I like this one just because I just thought it was another good composition. I like the movement of the flag and like how, like, the verticals and whatnot. This one, I wish it was a little more, like this background is a little more uniform, but I like the birds kind of moving around in it. Like, yeah, I don't know. It feels almost like otherworldly almost. I'm not gonna say it is for sure, because I feel like maybe like there could have been more to this photo. I like this one just because I loved how the green contrasts with the red, and like I wish this branch hadn't covered up this like too west, but I really like just kind of like the nature of this house, the aesthetic of it, and yeah. I thought this cat was cool. Just some leaves. I like this one just because it's kind of like, I don't know. I thought it was just a cool scene of how like the light shines through these leaves, and like how it shines on some of these leaves. I thought the contrast between like these like intense greens with these dark tree shadows and whatnot was really cool. I liked how all these birds were chasing this one bird, so I thought that created a cool composition. I thought this was an interesting decoration on someone's house. Yeah, this one's alright. It's too blurry, but whatever. I like this one because of all the lines, and just kind of like how I really like this graffiti, or not graffiti, this mural. How it like kind of stands out versus like all these, it kind of reflects the naturalness of this mountain in the sky, just because like the yellow and blues and like the form of these mountains kind of reflect the background, and it kind of contrasts with like the rigid lines of these dumpsters and like this building, and like even this like, I like how this sign sticks out, but it's not like overwhelming, or it doesn't like stick out to the point where it subtracts. I just like the kind of I like the overall feel of this photo, I guess would be a good way of putting it. This one I just really like the clean, like I thought the design itself was clean, but then like you have these marks and this kind of weathered metal bar, if I remember right. I thought that was just an interesting contrast between all of them. And then this one I thought was just like an interesting way that this logo was, how it was sectioned off by the bent metal. So I thought that was cool. I really like this mural just because like I think it's a cool style. It reminds me of an artist, but I can't remember who. I took this photo just because I liked how these, like, you could see how, like, there's all these, like, horizontal and vertical lines, but then they're broken up by this slanted line. And, like, how it's, like, all these steps are being, and then bam, it's like someone fell through it. So I thought that was kind of cool. This one I kind of wanted to get, like, an interesting like angle on these branches kind of weaving through the fence. I don't know, I feel like I could have done a better job. I really liked how all these like the leaves on this plant was just like, I loved the curves and like just kind of like the erraticness of the change in direction and how they kind of folded. I thought that was really cool. I really liked how these flowers were like just so like spherical, and like just even though they had all these folds and like the petals and stuff like that, I thought that was really cool, and how they contrasted with the leaves in the background. And then this one I just kind of experimented with like making them really pop, because I really liked how orange these were, or like the reddish orange of them, and like how intense that was. And then I liked how they contrasted with these yellow ones, so I thought I tried to capture that. And this one's just me like kind of messing around with the photo editing a little bit, nothing crazy. Yeah, I don't know. This is me trying to like, I didn't have a tripod at the time, so that's why these are a little blurry. But if I hadn't had a tripod on the time, I think they would have turned out a lot better. This just some scribbles. Another little experiment with light. I like this one because it's like, I don't know. Like it's almost like you're coming home after a long night, and you're kind of just like walking up a long driveway to your house, or like, yeah. I thought that was cool. I really liked, so this is, let's see. I wish I could have done a better job of capturing like the pattern of this rock versus like this kind of abrasive wood, like this abrasive cut of the wood. I wish I could have captured both of them, but I wasn't really getting anywhere with that. I really like how this guy just kind of, I don't know if he was homeless, but I really like the kind of weathered look he had, and just like the cowboy hat, and like, yeah, I don't know, I just really like the atmosphere of this photo. I'm not too sure if that's the right term. So now I'm in Walmart, and I'm just kind of looking around trying to take photos of interesting stuff. I like this because of how like the wood contrasts so much with like the metal, the shininess, the smoothness, and how even the curve of the stool, or this part of the stool, even contrasts this background metal. So I really like that. This one I was just kind of like trying to get an interesting composition out of this. Same thing here. I really like the colors, how everything popped, but I don't know. I think it was a bit much. I really liked, by this time I was kind of like thinking about patterns and stuff. So I wanted to get a good idea of maybe patterns and like with interesting textures. And obviously this is a broom or a brush, but I don't think I did as good a job as I could have. This one, I wish I didn't have these like black things in the corner, the black shadows in the corner, just because I love how much these kind of like bubbly bits of the foam kind of, I don't know, they just feel so like pillowy and weird, I guess. I don't know. I just think it could have been, it was so close to being a good photo, or it could have been a better photo. This one, I really loved how these like white bits of the fabric were kind of sticking out, and how they contrasted with like the roughness of the other black woven fabrics. And I wish it wasn't so blurry, but yeah, I wish there was more to this photo, just because I like how the light reflected on and like the lines of this photo and the curves. I just really like that. This one is kind of, this one I like the contrast of the wood with these metal paddles and metal handles. Another one where I like the contrast of like the kind of rusty, worn out penny versus worn out metallic penny versus like the rough woven fabric and like different fonts and stuff like that. I thought that was a cool contrast. Just a different angle. I like this one's composition better. I feel like I could have done a better job with those balls because they're like plastic and whatnot, but it's whatever. Let's see, where am I? I like the brush steel. I just like the look of it. This one, I like the difference in like the reflective metal versus like the kind of grimy slate, or I don't know what this, marble, concrete, whatever. But yeah, and then this one, I really liked the colors and just kind of how they how, I don't know. I really like the kind of like sectionated reflectiveness of this kind of like, I don't know if it was metal or whatnot, but I thought it was just cool. A cool, interesting like effect of the light and like the surrounding area on it. I just liked the lighting, and like I just thought this would be a good composition with like the different textures and like the contrast of this curved kind of smooth shadow versus these kind of like rough, worn out concrete and whatnot. I really like this one just because I really like the weight of this light versus this kind of like, I feel like this intense light is balanced out by this kind of dark box, and then this sign really like keeps the focus. It's like almost like it's bridging the gap between the two, so I really like that. I thought this was just like an interesting, I don't know what you would call this. It is like a piece of metal sticking out of the ground. I just thought it was an interesting shape. Had an interesting shape and lines. Nothing crazy about that. Same thing with that. Nothing crazy. I feel like this could have been better. Just a random photo. A cop pulling someone over. I like this. I like this just because it's like an interesting contrast in the like white and red of this kind of brushed, almost fabric-y yellow. This one's, I don't like how it's tilted. It's kind of meh. The light's very intense, but when I go to this photo, it loses that intensity, so I'm kind of like, meh. I don't know, I just like how it's almost like all the light in the world is in this Dairy Queen. Like everything else is dark. Kind of a similar situation here. Like all the light in the world is in this light, and it's in this like kind of rustic store with trinkets and stuff like that. Another similar kind of feel. Nah, nothing crazy. This one, I really like the balance, the symmetry of it, but then you notice how these lights are like, how these lights kind of contrast with each other, so I think that's kind of cool. It's just a neat little detail. Not a particularly great photo. Nothing to speak about there. Yeah, not great. This one's kind of, feels like it could have been better. This one, I really like how the lights light up the bush. I like how they light up the bush. And like you kind of get a sense of the shape of it. I don't know. I feel like maybe it could have been better. I'm not sure. I just thought this was an interesting slogan. Meh. 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 I like this photo. I don't know what's going on here, but I like this photo just because I feel like the lighting itself is interesting and how it lights up. It really shows off the texture of these bricks. I really like that. I like how there's all these contrasting flowers and colors. At least for these photos. This one I really loved how like crazy these pumpkins were with all these like knots and stuff. I don't know what they're called, but I thought that was crazy. Same thing here. It's like they're just so like, I don't know, it's almost like they're from another world or something. So I thought that was cool. I really like this just because it's like, it's a simple composition. I feel like the lighting could have been a little more better somehow. Like maybe if the lighting was a little warmer and a little brighter, that would have really helped. I think this one's cool just because it's like all the flowers are expanding into the world, I guess. There's me. Nothing crazy. This one, I like how this reflection plays in the photo. But other than that, it's not particularly great or anything. Yeah. See, like, if I get the vertical rights, then like the sidewalk yet again is slanted, so that kind of bothers me. But then if I get the sidewalk right, everything else is slanted. So yeah, I wish that wasn't the case. This one I really like the contrast between like the reddish light and then like the green stoplight being reflected in this water. So I think that's kind of cool. But then that's it. This one I just like because this is a photo where like it's not perfectly symmetrical, but I feel like this light kind of balances out this building, which is, it seems a little odd, but I don't know. It's just the asymmetry isn't like, I feel like it makes it interesting, an interesting photo. I think this is an interesting photo just because like this is another one where it's like all the light in the world is on these signs, or in these signs, so I think that's kind of cool. It creates an interesting photo. I thought all these stickers were cool, so I thought that was neat. Nah. This one, I feel like this is so close to being something more. Just because, like, I love the lines so much. I just like this because I've never seen a stain like this in the middle of the street. It's like a crescent moon or something like that. This one I think is so, I don't know. I just thought it was really cool just because of like, of all the, like curve. I love the curve of this like container contrasting with this box semi or this box trailer. I just really love that contrast. And then like how this is all red, like really red, and then this is kind of all green. And yeah, I just really love this photo. I think, I don't know, maybe it could have been better somehow. I'm not sure. This is similar to like an earlier photo of like the hardware store, I think. But I feel like this one's a lot better just because the lighting isn't so like, I don't know. The hue isn't so weird, I guess. This one, it feels like you're getting a better understanding of the store itself. And I really like that, I guess. Put up some ducks. I think this is an alright composition. I wish this duck was facing me. That's the only, or like this. I really like those eyes. Like it just really sticks out. It creates a new feel to it. I think this is just a good composition. Meh. I think. No. Meh. I really wanted to get a good sense of the feathers, but I think it's a little, I don't know. It's almost like these feathers are shimmering, but they're not. It's just like how they grew out. So I think that's kind of cool. This one I really like just because of like the quality and just kind of like how, I don't know. I never knew how dark a duck's eyes can get. So I thought that was so cool. Just because like, I don't know. I just love how like, I wouldn't say intensity, but I just feel like this duck looks so cool, even though it's a duck. It's almost like a model or something. So I think that's really cool. This one, I don't know. I wish this sidewalk wasn't like. I wish I could trim the top off of this, or just make. I wish this was all grass. And then I'd be like a little bit more okay with this. I thought these are just photos of like some national park stickers, so I thought that was cool. Same thing. I thought these leaves were interesting, the shadows in them. I thought this curve and this fence was interesting. Same thing with this, I just thought this circle was cool. This one, I really like the contrast in like the metal with the fence, the wood fence. And then like these triangles contrast with like the squares, I guess, of the fence, like the angles of this. So this is a satellite dish, but I really liked how these like braces contrasted with these kind of square angles. I feel like that was a bad way of explaining it, but yeah. Okay, I'll finish September's. I thought this was just like an interesting yard because like you can see they're working on it, and like I feel like it just has an interesting story going on. Yeah. This one I really like the pattern on this bench, I think, and like how this fence overlays it, and then you have the wood in the background, and like there's all these contrasting textures, and like how all these whites kind of contrast with like this kind of gray. Like I just like the balance between the lights and the darks. This one I thought was just like a really interesting composition because you have all these kind of like squares, and then you have all these natural leaves in the grass, and like I just thought that was a really good contrast between like these grays and these greens. I just like how this section, or this like 2/5 contrasts with this 3/5. I think that's just really cool. I love these reds, how these colors popped. I wish the composition could have been better. And this is like another situation where I love how the colors pop, and like I just thought this was a great composition. I'm not particularly fond of the shadow, but I don't think it's really taken away much from the photo. And like I just really like all the contrasting textures and forms and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's a cool photo. I like how the sky pops out, and how the blue contrasts with like the warmth of the house and the wood paneling and like the flag and all that. I just feel like it's nothing really dominates the picture. Everything kind of just comes together, I think. This one I kind of tried to get an interesting angle on the flag, but didn't really do that. Yeah. I didn't want to like walk onto this person's lawn and just start taking photos of their flag. I thought that would have been weird. And then here's a photo of my bike. But yeah, I'm maybe like, I don't know. Let's see. Oh wait, no. Where am I? So yeah, I'm maybe like a third or a third of the way through my photos. But if you watched this, thank you. If you didn't, it's cool. Yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good day.